Yeah, so I'm driving an i3, but not just any i3. This is the i3 with the range extender. And it's been different not having the i8. It's been very different not having the i8. I now know what range anxiety is, but we'll talk about that later. The i3. What is the i3 and why do we even have it? Why did BMW make it? I get it now. Having lived with this car for about a week and a half, I now understand the existence of the i3, why we have it. This car is a city car. There's no question about it. It's very practical. It's a family car. Really, it's a small SUV that's for the city, and it works in the city. It is a bubble in many ways. And the design itself may be particularly challenging for some folks, but I understand it now. I understand why the i3 exists. And to be honest, my verdict is, if you understand its purpose, you'll appreciate it. I would say in the past, electric cars, no way. As a car guy, they're going to ruin the car and enthusiast. And I think there are very few of us today, when we recognize and talk about things like the LaFerrari P1 and 918 Spider, that electrification of automobiles can actually be a very good thing. And so I don't fear cars like the i3 anymore. The question is, what is its purpose? It's awfully quiet in here. And in fact, during this entire review, I don't think you will hear the range extender, which is a 647cc two-cylinder engine in the back, and it's only designed not to power the car. It doesn't power the wheels. What it does, it creates electricity to maintain a certain level of charge so the car can keep going. And that is, in fact, where my anxiety was, and I'll talk to you about that a little bit later. But this car is a great city car. It doesn't pollute, so it doesn't have pollution. And I think it's a little bit of a misnomer when people say that electric cars have zero carbon footprint. That's not true. You've got to use some sort of fossil fuel, mostly, to generate the electricity to charge this car. But on a day-to-day basis, this is one less vehicle rolling around a city that's adding pollution. So I get it. I honestly get it. But one of the things, as soon as you get in this car and you're driving, that you realize is that the regenerative braking system is far more aggressive on the i3 than it is on the i8. There's no question about it. I let up off the accelerator and instantly you feel the braking that's happening. And look, before I get to the stop sign, the car is pretty much stopped itself. And so that's one of the things you have to learn to do, is to time this pretty well if you're going to get the maximum benefit of the regenerative braking. But it does work. Now, you get about 81 miles on a charge from this 200 kilowatt battery that comes with the i3. You also get an additional 78 miles from the range extender. Now, it's interesting because in the United States, we get a 1.9 gallon gasoline tank for that engine in the back. But in Europe, they get a 2.5 gallon tank. And the question is, why? Don't we deserve a bigger tank? Come on, BMW. So one of the interesting things that would make the i3 sort of different is if you get the tinted, you lower it and put some wheels on this, custom wheels. Kind of like this picture. What do you think? So the styling of the i3 is kind of controversial. In fact, is very controversial. And I would say that if you understand the purpose of this car, you'll understand why it's styled the way it is. Again, it's a small SUV. You kind of feel like you're in a bubble because it is actually one of the cars that I've had the greatest degree of visibility I've ever had. There really isn't a blind spot in this car, notwithstanding these larger A-pillars, which I think is probably the only controversial part of the car. And I have it in the i8 as well, but the i3 is literally a bubble, and I'd probably want to tint my car, but I think it's got great visibility. And again, if you think about the purpose as a city vehicle for a family, and you can sit in the rear seats, and I'll show you what that looks like, you actually would appreciate the value of this car. Let's take a little walk around and look at the styling cues. So, like all the other iCars, it has these blue accents, again indicating this green theme. The doors themselves are, it's actually 5-door car. So you have the conventional front door, and then you have suicide doors in the rear that you open, and it allows you to get in. Now, a average size adult, I am 5'10", can fit in the rear, and it's not that hard actually. Now, because there is, the batteries are down low, you can see I have a fair amount of leg room here and a fair amount of headroom. Even though there's somewhat of a slightly sloping roof line, this fits somebody fairly comfortable and a family of 4. In fact, more so than in the i8, that's for sure. And you saw that video. If you haven't seen the i8 video about getting into the rear seat, you can see it right here in this annotation. All right, around the rear, again, the BMW has these LEDs, as they do on the i8, and it's the eDrive. Again, not like iDrive, but eDrive. This is the electric division of BMW, and these are their first 2 cars. The wheels themselves are Bridgestones. They are actually very small. They are 176/60 R19s, but you can see the width is very small to reduce rolling resistance. So when you open up the rear hatch, you'll see that you have a reasonable storage space here, and the seats themselves fold down. This is easily removable. I'll open the seats, and there's some attachment points here. And you can see we have some stuff here. It's a decent sized storage space. So it's time to fuel up the i3, isn't it? And so we'd go where a typical door is. But guess what? This is not where you fuel the petrol engine. This is where you charge the car. In fact, where you charge the petrol engine is in a very unusual place right here. But it's a great city car. It's zero emissions.
It looks like such a cute city car.
There you go. It is a city car, so you like this. Yep.
Hey, you have a good
Thanks.
day.
You
That's
too.
a nice vehicle.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And so there, folks, you have it. This is a middle-aged woman who was absolutely in love with the i3. That's a testament. She literally was just driving by in a Lexus ES300, and she stopped, backed up, just to talk about the i3. So very much like the i8, you have to press and hold, and this is to pressurize the fuel tank system before you can open the door on the other side. So 2 seconds and then you can go. So you can open the bonnet from the key. And what we have up front is just some small amount of storage space. Batteries are down below. This is your mobility kit and your towing kit for the car. So you have a little bit of storage up front, but not very much. Much with the rest of the i theme, as you recall on the i8, you have these blue accents around the rondelle and around the kidney grille. And in this case, these are not open. In the i8, you recall there is a little bit of opening for cooling of the front electric motors. So we're gonna go ahead, get started, put it in drive, and we'll get out. So again, this car itself is relatively small and relatively light. Lots of carbon fiber reinforced plastics are the key to weight savings in this car. Again, one thing you notice is that this car has all the characteristics of a BMW, all the drive characteristics of a BMW. When you sit in the driver's seat of the i8, what do you think? Well, first of all, you get these accents around the steering wheel that reminds you that you're in a hybrid vehicle, and I like it. I think it actually works on this car. The steering, the girth of the steering wheel is probably a little bit on the small side, but that's okay. The fit and finish is excellent, but it doesn't feel premium. It's interesting that this infotainment system here is kind of floating, and I actually like that. It's a bit of a futuristic feel to it. But a lot of the panels are lightweight, and you can feel that they're a bit more plastic type, and that's okay because all the material that's used in this car is eco-friendly and can be recycled, and that's exactly what BMW was going for in this sustainable type vehicle. So driving on the highway is also pretty impressive in this car. A few things that you can do, and I want to show you something here. So if you look at the dashboard, I'm going to put the car, right now we're driving in regular comfort mode, and I'm going to just take a look at what happens to the electric miles per gallon in blue there. I'm in regular comfort mode. If I go into Eco Pro mode, you can see the range increased a little bit. And it does so by optimizing a number of the settings. And if I want to extend the range even further, I can go into Eco Pro mode, which I basically say everything shut off except including life support. And you can see the range just jumped to 62. They limit the top speed to 56 miles an hour. All the sort of things just to enhance the range of the electric motor. Pretty interesting. I think it works. I think the BMW i3 does what it's supposed to do. It is a city car, fuel efficient, holds a family of four comfortably, 4 adults comfortably, have a range that's respectable for a city car, and has the utility of a small family SUV. I'm saying incredible amounts of torque, but it's instant, consistent torque. What you can expect from, a 170 horsepower car, because that's what this is. But I think it works. I think the i3 works, and having had it for a week and a half, I now get it. What do you guys think about the BMW i3? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks guys for watching. Be sure to check out the rest of our videos. Be sure to check out iLife, iTimes, living with the BMW i8, and our reaction videos. Thanks again. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.